Silence your cell phones. And we're starting off with a public hearing.
Correct. Public hearing number one. The hearing is held for the purpose of hearing public comments on the village's community development needs and to discuss the possible submission of one or more community development block grant applications for the 2024 funding year. The CDBG program is administered by the New York State Office of Community Renewal and will make funds available to eligible local governments for housing, economic development, including micro enterprise assistance for businesses with 5 or fewer individuals, including the owners, public facilities, public infrastructure, and planning activities, with the principal purpose of benefiting low to moderate income persons. The Village of Homer is applying for $2 million in CDBG funds to improve public water infrastructure in the village. The hearing will provide further information about the CDBG program and will allow for citizen participation in the development of any proposed grant applications and/or to provide technical assistance to develop alternate proposals. Comments on the CDBG program or proposed projects will be received at this time. The hearing is being conducted pursuant to section 570.486, subpart I of 24 CFR, and in compliance with the requirements of the Housing and Community Development Act of 1974 as amended.
This time we'll open the floor. Does anybody have any questions, comments on the public hearing? Hearing none, we'll close the public hearing portion of the meeting. Do we need a motion on this?
Motion to go ahead with the submission.
I will, anybody want to make the motion on that?
I'll make the motion that we accept the public hearing number one for the CDBG program grant.
Second. Discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. For any opposed? None heard? It passes. Okay.
For a water tank, it's important.
Does anybody have any questions on the consent agenda?
No, pretty straightforward. As usual.
I'll make a motion that we accept the consent agenda that was circulated back on Friday.
Second. Discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Any opposed? None heard? Carries. All right. Anybody want to do the motion to approve the minutes?
That's you.
Oh, I know, but I sometimes beat this thing. I didn't want to steal anybody else's thunder, but I'll go ahead. I'll make the motion that we approve the minutes from 6/11/2024. There was one minor change that I asked, was that for the votes, that all the names were included on the votes. So with that and that one change,
I'll second.
discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? All right, motion carried. All right. Who wants to do a motion to pay the bills?
I will, if nobody else doesn't. Authorize payment of bills, F&G funds, vouchers 154 through 185 in an amount of $22,176.11. A fund vouchers numbers 521 through 592 in the amount of $132,316.72. And TNA fund vouchers number 18 through 24 in the amount of $9,900. Oh, this is an interesting.
It's like an additional line there, so sorry.
The last 9 is out.
Yep.
In the amount of $9,993.56. Over.
It's kind of hard to read.
I'll second that.
All right. Discussion?
Not sure what happened.
All in favor?
Aye.
All right. Passed. Okay, privilege of the floor. You have anybody that wants to speak?
There's somebody new who I don't want to put on the spot, but.
Well, I was gonna cover that, we'll go ahead and cover that now. I'd like to welcome Sam Smith, over here, if you would actually come over and say hi to the camera. That way all our new people can see.
No, you're good.
Yeah.
Aye.
Welcome Sam Smith, our new village treasurer. Welcome
Mike, sit
aboard.
over here.
She'll move up to that. She doesn't know you quite.
I did use deodorant.
She didn't hurt you bite a little. Okay. All right, anybody else for privilege of the floor? Okay, no? All right, we'll go on to old business. We'll have a grants update, and we're gonna start with B and L because we have Jacqueline, on Zoom, in regards to the water tank. So at this time, I will hand it over to Jacqueline.
Hello, everyone. How are you guys?
We're good, thank you.
Good to see you all. Yeah, I wanted to just hop on quickly tonight just to provide an update on the design. We're moving forward pretty well. We've got survey for the new tank site. And we just wanted to talk more about the alternatives for the tank itself. So at this point in design now, we are looking to make a decision on which type of tank that we want to move forward with. We did evaluate the alternatives when we put together the preliminary engineering report. So the two alternatives would be to install a concrete tank like the existing tank that's there. That is would match the existing, it would just be a smaller size, so smaller diameter, same height. And then the other alternative would be an aqua store tank. So different method of construction, different material, functionally the same. They would be the same height, generally the same diameter. They would function and operate the same, just different materials. And we left it kind of open-ended in the PER. We did recommend the concrete option at that time because although it was the slightly more expensive alternative, the board at the time thought that matching the existing material would just kind of better the aesthetics of the new tank, kind of look the same. Essentially, you wouldn't have two style tanks sitting right next to each other. So that's the alternative we recommended in the PER. But now that we're getting into design, we want to just confirm that that's still the alternative that the board wants to move forward with. I did go out and receive updated cost estimates for the two alternatives because obviously everything does come down to cost as well. All things being the same, site work's going to be the same. Yard piping is all going to be the same. So those costs are the same, whether or not you choose the aqua store tank or a concrete tank. So the cost difference I found was $145,000 difference in cost between Aquastore and concrete being the more expensive alternative, which over the course of a 30-year loan turns up to be about $3 per user per year. So it's a relatively small difference in the grand scheme of things, but I wanted to present that information to you so that you guys can discuss it and make a decision about how you'd like to move forward with design. The reason we've got to choose at this point which material we want to move forward with is as we get further in design, we're going to start working hand in hand with those manufacturers to put together that design. And Keith has already talked to me about it. He's been approached by one of the tank manufacturers, and they don't like competing against each other directly like that because they don't consider it comparing apples to apples, really. So I wanted to bring that, this information to you all so you can talk about it. I did briefly talk with Keith about it yesterday as well. His preference, he said, if he were to choose, and I was hoping he'd be on tonight, but I know he said he had another engagement, would be to go with the concrete tank simply because it matches the existing. Aesthetically, it's the same, and obviously just for upkeep and maintenance, it's the same style of tank as well. So with that, let me know if you guys have any questions, but I was hoping to hear some feedback from you.
Does the Aqua Store have a liner in it?
It's got like a glass lining to it. It's not like a replaceable liner like your existing steel tanks. It wouldn't be like that.
Okay, all right.
Yeah, it's glass fused to steel, to metal.
Yeah, that's because that's the problem we're having with our current tank is the liner ripped. And I didn't know if we
Yes.
were gonna have the same problem. And then
Yep.
what is the comparable for the life expectancies for each one?
They would have very similar life expectancies.
Could you give us a couple, what the years are on that?
We usually say at least 30 to 40 years, but it's gonna be a lot longer than that. Usually the funding agencies just want to see that it's going to last at least the lifetime of the loan.
Okay,
Which is easier to repair, the concrete or the steel?
I really don't have an answer to that. I think it would all depend on what repairs would be necessary. The way that the Aquastore tank is constructed is they construct it in rings. And then as it's constructed, they pop a ring up and then put the next ring underneath it and then keep lifting up.
So
Constructability
they're
wise,
sealed or they welded? Or is it a
it's like
quality
bolted,
paper?
it's bolted together and then welded.
And then
And then
welded?
there's like a coating that they put on each of those seams. There's a coating that they would put on to seal all
And concrete is what, poured in one
the
slip?
links between the two.
And the concrete?
Yeah,
was
it's
the same
pre-stressed, so
way?
they would build everything right on site. Nope, they would build it
It's
all as
split
one
poured at
whole
once.
piece. Yes, yeah.
Oh, I like that much better. Less joints for the heat and expansion, steel's okay, but you know, over 30 years, none of us are gonna be here, so we gotta make sure. Next crew will take care of it. You tell me you're gonna work another 30 years?
Oh, I ain't working.
Well, that's what I'm.
He wants to
talking
be
about.
around
You
for
could
it.
be alive, but I didn't mean you're gonna grow.
When do you need an answer on this by, Jacqueline?
Soon, but I wouldn't need an answer tonight. If maybe at the next board meeting, there's a decision. Also, I can, see if you guys want to set up a meeting with the different tank manufacturers, just a quick kind of overview of their construction methods, the benefits, pros and cons of each option. Each manufacturer will obviously explain why they're the good fit for this project. But I can certainly see if they're able to set something up with you all if you'd like to learn more. Obviously, they're going to be the experts on each of their own tanks.
I appreciate that offer. I think it'd be a good idea to have a chance to have our waterhead weigh in on things. I don't know, Phil.
He already has.
Oh, he has.
Yeah, he said concrete.
Okay.
Let's shoot for a vote then next meeting. And Jacqueline, we'll discuss, before then, if we feel that we need to have, any of the, sales reps, coming in, but I think Keith went out there and attended a conference. So, we'll talk with him first and then go from there.
Yeah, absolutely. And I think one of the tank manufacturers reps did stop by and talk with Keith not too long ago about this project as well. But yeah, just let me know if you'd like me to set something up in the meantime to go over each of the options.
Great. Thank you very much. Does anybody else have anything else for Jacqueline?
I was just concerned with the lifespan, but you covered that.
All right. Thank you very much.
All right, thank you all. Talk with you all soon.
So next up, we have the rest of we are starting a format with our projects to help with keeping everybody up to date. So you have a copy within your packets, and Dan is going to put some up on the screen for everybody else so that they can see. All right.
So walkable home. Total cost right now is $444,734.84. That's current budget. That's not necessarily what the number is going to be. This grant is a 50-50. So the grant was for 400, which means 200 reimbursed, 200 in match. Our match right now is a little bit over, or is over by about 50,000 per the budget. If we reach up over 400, we'll get the full 200. If we don't reach up, obviously up to that, things get adjusted to what the true 50/50 is with that. We've already recouped costs of about 30,000 so far. Phil may jump in and see if my numbers are correct. I talked to Mike Galliali this afternoon. About 2.3 thousand feet poured so far. I think that's from last year into this year. He says there's about another 2.5 yet to be done, perhaps this summer.
Yep.
As you see, what the current status, though, the original scope of work was 15,000 feet. We reduced that last year to 9. So we hit 2.3, 2.5, and there's another 4,000 to hit, right? During 2025.
Yeah.
Right, right. Can track the match and expenses, which is being done already. Monthly reimbursement, that's what we had been doing. I will work with Sam on that, get back into it if we want to do monthly or do quarterly, depending on how the work goes. There is a time extension still pending, so that's why I had the end date TBD. But we can still do work with it. We already got comment from the state that that's fine. It's just an administrative end thing that they need to do. So, and the extensions we can only get is year in, year out. So at the end of this year, we need to ask for another extension to get through 2025. So they only give them from year to year. But some of the outliners, some of those streets that we're hitting, I think that may be the original scope though, so it may have curved come down a little bit. I think maybe some of those side streets are not getting done. Is that correct?
Yeah.
All right. All right. Any other questions?
Yeah, so for next time, let's go ahead and have the revised plan. And then what I'd like to see is we can keep the yellow and then change it to another color as we complete.
Yep.
So we can track progress.
Yeah, Mike and I were working on that today. We're gonna get exactly what we've done so far.
Okay.
And actually, Amanda Mazzoni is the great admin, that's whatever they probably go with letters that you are part of too, like Central New York. Whatever.
Regional Development Planning Board.
Thank you very much. They are actually the admin, they're getting about 25,000 off the grant for this on top of everything. So she can work with Phil, Mike, and myself to updating all these different things.
Okay.
All right.
Yeah, so let's make sure we add them to the assisting organizations.
Oh, yep. That's one of the- Well, I'm going to end, sorry, if Jay and Kevin, you want to kick back in the sharing the screen with the